UFC Fight Night, Costa versus Allen, goes down this Saturday, and the card absolutely fucking blows. The Netflix card's going on too, the one with like Ngannou and Ronda Rousey. That's all happening at the same time as this, so if I were you, I would click off this video and go watch like a prediction video for that. But I'm the UFC guy, so, I have to cover this shit. Anyways, I'm doing a prediction video, as we do every week, starting with the prelims, ending with the main event. Let's get straight into it. First up on the card, we have Shauna Banan versus Nicole Calieri. I'm going to take Nicole Calieri here by decision. This is just a very low-level MMA fight, let alone women's MMA. Both of these girls don't really have a necessary, strong way of finishing the fight. The way that I see this going, in my head at least, is that Nicole Calieri is going to be able to get the takedowns and work from top control on top of Shauna Banan, who's shown a susceptibility to not being too good when she does get taken down. The one instance where she did kind of have a comeback type of a win was against Pooja Tamor, one of the few Indian fighters in the UFC. She got absolutely flattened by a head kick, rolled to her back, and then Pooja Tamor, from what I remember, just shoved her arm in an armbar and lost. That's basically the only success that I've seen from Shauna Banan on the ground. Whereas Nicole Calieri, at least I remember a few instances where she's been able to work in a couple takedowns. She's been able to work from top control. I remember a couple submissions that she's had. And not to mention that Shauna Banan's last fight was against Sam Hughes, where she just got mauled on the ground and choked out. I'm just going to stick with the fact that she looked like shit on the ground then, and she's probably going to look like shit on the ground again. I'm just going to bank on that, and I'll take Nicole Calieri by decision here. Up next on the card, we have Daniel Barez versus Luis Gurule, or Gurule, I believe it's pronounced. I'm going to take Daniel Barez here. I don't necessarily like that because he is old and he's not very good, but I don't think Luis Gurule's good either. I think that he is well-rounded, but not enough to the point where he's there's not enough output. He's not really doing anything that's effective. It kind of looks pretty, but there's not actually any substance to it. And on the other side of things, Daniel Barez actually does have pretty good boxing fundamentals, and he is good on the front foot in the wrestling. And I've seen him be able to take down guys in the past and actually maybe not hold the top control that you want, but he's been persistent in the fact that he is maybe trying to work in the grappling or work in just different elements of MMA, where Luis Gurule's just kind of he's kind of just there to be there. He's not really trying to do anything other than maybe swing in the pocket and land a couple hooks there. Even at that, he's not defensively responsible there. In terms of the boxing, which was kind of the turning point for me with this, his boxing's not good, especially in close. I'm just going to bank on Daniel Barez being sharper there. If he does work in the takedowns, I don't really trust Luis Gurule to scramble out at a high rate. We'll take Barez by either late TKO or more likely decision. Moving on from that, Elise Ardelian versus Polyana Viana. Yeah, I don't know why Polyana Viana is in the UFC anymore. I understand that she's attractive to a lot of people and she's a big draw on social media, but she's dropped her last 3 fights, all by finish nonetheless. 2 decently skilled competition. You lose to a Jacqueline Amorum, a Jillian Robertson, I believe, and a Yasmin Lucindo, I believe. But getting finished in women's MMA repeatedly, that's a sign that you're probably not cut out for this shit. At least go to a decision, The stereotypical women's MMA fight is get to the final bell. 90% of women's MMA fights get to the bell. If you can't get to the bell, well, yeah, you suck. I don't think she's very good. On the other side of things, Elise Ardelian is well-rounded enough to be able to hold her own, I think, in this fight. And she gets to the final bell. That's the main thing that I want to point out here, is that she might be 2-2 in the UFC. She might not be dominating people, but at least she's getting to the final bell in all of her fights. And even Polyana Viana, the wins that she has, I don't really remember her getting any finishes. Does she get finishes? Oh, yeah, that's right. She beat Jin Yu Frey, Mallory Martin, and Emily Whitmire back in 2020. I would put my life savings on the fact that you don't know who any of those people are. Moving on. Andre Petrosky versus Cody Brundage. Neither of these guys are good, but I'm going to take Cody Brundage, actually. I can't believe I just said that. That was probably the last thing that I expected myself to say when I woke up this morning was, I'm going to take Cody Brundage. Cody Brundage, I think in this sense, he actually has decent heat in his hands. That and his wrestling fundamentals are really good. Those are probably the two high points that he has. I wouldn't say that he necessarily knows how to throw an extended combination at a high level, like whatsoever. On the other side of things, Andre Petrosky, he's going to throw 1 to 2 strikes at a time, not even 2 most of the time. A lot of times it's just like throw a low kick or throw an overhand. Like there's no combinations being put together. And when he's not doing that, he's shooting like weak takedowns, weak double legs that land at a really low clip, I feel like, from what I remember. When you shoot on Cody Brundage, I think that you do need to be good in the sense that if you are able to get him down, which in that is actually decently hard because his wrestling fundamentals are good, but I think you need to be very submission heavy. You can't just kind of sit there because he is willing to just work and work and work till he gets back up to his feet. But Cody Brundage has shown like signs that he can knock people out on the feet. He can swing in pocket and land at a high clip. And Andre Petrosky's chin sucks. He shot a takedown and he knocked himself out. And that's not a joke. That is not a joke. He shot a takedown. I believe it was on Jacob Malkoun, and I'm going to look right now because it's going to make me feel, I don't know if it's going to make me feel good or bad about myself. And I'm right. Ground strikes after a hard collision is what they name it. No, he shot a double leg and knocked himself out. I mean, I think he like hit his head on Malkoun's hip, which tends to happen when you shoot a takedown, but he knocked himself out. So I'm going to assume that Brundage knocks him out. Why wouldn't he? You know? Up next on the card, we have Ketlin Vieira versus Jacqueline Cavalcanti. I'm going to take Cavalcanti here. She's a rangy, smart kind of a fighter where she's going to sit on the back foot. She's always going to know where she is. She has the ability to circle either way, get out, exit. She throws a very nice teep to the body. She has nice fluttery low kicks. And she's not one of those fighters who's always on the back foot and not throwing. She throws it actually a pretty high clip, which is something that I think a lot of people who do fight on the back foot, they're missing. They kind of just run the whole time, and eventually fights will get away from them. With Cavalcanti, she doesn't really do that. She throws at a higher clip, and with Ketlin Vieira, she does walk forward, and she's going to play into Cavalcanti's game. She doesn't throw enough, I don't think. And I do think that she will be able to land a couple takedowns and she'll be able to grab a kick or something and flip her over. Maybe she holds top control for a little bit. Outside of that, when we're on the feet, I think she's going to be getting lit up, running into low kicks, running into teeps, running into jabs. Just stick and move, I think, for Cavalcanti. So I'm going to take Cavalcanti by decision. Ketlin Vieira is a little bit of a weird puzzle for a lot of fighters to figure out. If there's anything that I've seen from Cavalcanti, it's that her game plans tend to always work, and she always finds a way to work her game plan into her style, which is stick and move heavy. So we're taking Cavalcanti. I think she wins by decision here. Up next on the card, we have Tommy Gant versus Artur Minev. I'm going to take Tommy Gant here. He's a very grapple heavy type of a guy where the bell's going to ring, they're going to start fighting, and he is immediately on a takedown or he's immediately into the clinch. He's just trying to get you down. He's trying to work to where he's good, which is good. You want to see that from someone whose style is to grapple. Unlike a Marcus Buchecha, who's a grappler, but he doesn't know how to get a takedown. He doesn't know when to enter for a takedown. He doesn't know how to get to the ground when he needs to get to the ground. So Tommy Gant, he does that very well. But Artur Minev, he's kind of a brawler type of a style where he's beating up on cans. That was kind of my main thing that I took away from my analysis on this one was I just took a jog down his Tapology, and he's beating guys who are 2-1, 0-0, 0-3, 8-18, 2-0, 0-0, 20-13. He hasn't really beat anybody that's good. The best guy that he beat was 25-12. I mean, that, like, if that doesn't tell you anything, if the Bellator guys who were successful at Bellator come over to the UFC and they suck, if a guy who's fighting in Fury and XFC and NEF, they're beating guys who are worse than the guys at Bellator, logically, you just have to assume that he's probably going to have a hard time coming over to a promotion like this. So I'm going to take Tommy Gant. I think he could win by a submission, but I'm going to take him by decision here. I think that he is going to hold a lot of top control. I think that Manev is going to have an issue with the pace that's put on him from the bell. And I think immediately his confidence is just going to get zapped from him once he gets taken down. So I'm going to take Tommy Gant here. I think he gets a submission or more likely a decision. So we'll take that. Up next on the card, we have Tuco Tokos versus Ivan Erslan. I'm not going to spend long on this. I don't care. I think Erslan sucks, and I think Tuco Tokos is at least better than Erslan, so I'm going to take Tokos. Yeah, Tokos can work in the takedowns. I think that he is more fundamentally sound on the feet, whereas Erslan's kind of more of a brawler. He's not really educated in anything that he's throwing. He is powerful, but not in the sense where I think he's going to be putting away a Tuco Tokos with a one-shot type of capability. And he got ran through, by the way, by Jimmy Crute. Yikes, bro. Like, Jimmy Crute, of all people, you're getting slammed by that guy inside of a round? Good Lord. Yeah. We'll take Tuco Tokos. He's a guy that's kind of hard to put away, too. His grappling, I think, is just way better. He's going to be able to get takedowns. Going to be able to work in submission threats. And I think that he had a better performance against Navajo Sterling than Ivan Erslan did. Not much. Moving on. No, I won't take Ivan Erslan. I'll take Tuco Tokos by, what did I put here? I put decision or submission. Anyways, I don't want to talk about this anymore. Moving on from that. Nikolai Varetnikov versus Chaos Williams. I'm not going to spend long on this one either. I'm going to take Chaos Williams by flatline KO inside of the first round. Varetnikov had a good win last time against Nico Price. And before that, his only win was like Francisco Prado, right? Yeah. It was Francisco Prado, who, by the way, I don't remember him winning in the UFC. Oh, he has one win in the UFC against Ataman Zaitar. Yeah, good job, man. Proud of you. I'm just going off MMA math here. Like, Nikolai Varetnikov is kind of this slow, ploddy type of guy who has a little bit of heat in his hands. He tends to be very just like, they get in the pocket and he'll just throw defense out the window and just start swinging. And not care about his well-being. And he'll get clipped. He looks helpless on the ground. When he does go to the ground, people just pound his face in. I remember him getting ground and pounded. I'm gonna look at this. I remember him. Yeah. Oh my God. Austin Vanderford mauled him. That fight lasted 2 rounds, dude. It was hard to watch. Like, the guy was absolutely helpless. Not that that's going to matter here, but Chaos Williams is probably going to flatten him out cold in the first round. Way more educated in the boxing when they do get into the pocket. Varetnikov, he's just going to be walking into a bomb. I can see it happening. Moving on. I'm not gonna talk about this anymore. These fights suck, by the way. Hold on. Up next on the card, we have Timmy Kwamba versus Bernardo Sopai. I actually have an underdog pick here, I believe. I'm going to take Timmy Kwamba. Sopai gets tired way too quick. He is fundamentally sound. I get that. When he works in takedowns, he has very good entries. His striking is pretty solid. I think Timmy Kwamba is going to be so much faster. I don't think it's going to be close. The problem that I had with Timmy Kwamba for a while when he got to the UFC was that, like, oh, he's too, like, frail. He's too thin. Guys can just, like, outmuscle him and put him against the fence and take him down, which could very well happen here, and I could still be wrong. From what I've seen from Timmy Kwamba in his last 2 fights, either against Chung Ho Lee or Roberto Romero, he's so fast in his pull counters and his counter shots. They're so they're snappy. They're really, really snappy. And I think Sopai is just going to be so much slower in the sense that when he does shoot a takedown, I think he's going to be running into knees. He's going to be running into threats. That's going to give him some serious problems. I like Timmy Kwamba, dude. I think he's looked really good in his last 2 fights. I think he mixes up his weapons well. I think he has a good kicking game. I think he's really fast. And Sopai, hasn't Sopai taken a long time off? Okay, no. He beat Ricky Tercios a year ago, over a year ago, a year and a half. And then before that, he fought in March of 2024. I'm going to take Timmy Kwamba. I think he's adding levels to his game here. I don't trust the gas tank of Sopai. I trust the speed of Kwamba. I'm going to take Timmy Kwamba by late TKO here, round 2 or 3. Up next on the card, we have Modestas Bukauskas versus Christian Edwards. I'm not going to take long on this one either. These fights suck, huh? What the hell's going on? I'll take Modestas. Christian Edwards, I believe, was a heavyweight. He's another one of those guys who's coming over from kind of these crappier promotions, who was just beating up cans. I mean, I can't expect you to win against Modestas Bukauskas, who's like a known UFC veteran at this point. After you've beaten up on guys who are not even, he's losing the guy. This guy's 22-16. He's beating guys who are 3-2. 0-0, 5-3. Bellator. He's a Bellator guy, by the way, too. I said crappier promotions because it's true, but he's coming from Bellator. We don't trust Bellator fighters. Bukauskas he likes to sit at range, and then once he does enter into a combination, tends to throw in the pocket at a pretty high clip. I can see him sleeping him from there, or more likely, I see him winning over 15 minutes. I mean, I just don't care. I'll take Modestas Bukauskas by round 3 TKO. Speed's going to play a factor. I think that he's way more educated in the pocket, which is probably where a lot of this fight's actually going to take place. The more that I'm thinking about it, he's probably going to sleep Christian Edwards in the second or third round. We'll take Modestas Bukauskas. I think he gets it done by late TKO here. Up next on the card, we have Malcolm Wellmaker versus Juan Diaz. A lot of hype coming in with Juan Diaz. He had a nasty spinning elbow KO on the Contender Series. One of the louder KOs that I've ever heard. I am going to take Malcolm Wellmaker. A lot of his hype got sucked away from him when he lost to Ethan Ewing, who came in on short notice. Now that we know that Ethan Ewing is very solid, can we really look at Malcolm Wellmaker and go, yeah, he sucks because he lost to Ethan Ewing? I can't say that. I can't look at myself and be like, yeah, no, that's a fair assessment. That Malcolm Wellmaker is just not good. I remember him hurting Ethan Ewing to the body one time. I remember him landing a good check hook at one point. That fight was pretty competitive. Ethan Ewing did win. He won handedly at the end. But I think it's very unfair to say that Malcolm Wellmaker is just not good. Because I think he is solid. I think he has good boxing fundamentals. I think he hunts his right. I think it's his right hook. I believe he's a southpaw. He hunts that right hook finish way too much. He sets it up with the kicks to the body, gets you to drop your hands, and then he bombs one over the top after he feints. But Juan Diaz, I've noticed, he looks like he slows down. When you do push a pace on him and you are throwing all sorts of different feints at him, he tends to slow down and he tends to kind of succumb to that kind of a pressure. And I think that knockout that he had, it was incredible. But at the same time, it's like, this is kind of a rough debut for him, and I don't like it for him. So I'm going to take Wellmaker by second round KO. I think he can put a pace on Diaz. I think he's eventually going to land that bomb right hand, and I think he's going to put Diaz out. So we'll take Wellmaker. I think that he gets this done in the second or third round. Up next on the card, we have Doo Ho Choi versus Daniel Santos. I'm going to take Daniel Santos here. I think that he is actually pretty solid. I think that fights out of shoot-a-box. Is that right? He does. He's a Diego Lima guy, which that style is you stand up tall. It's Muay Thai, kind of trudging forward, land teeps, pressure, constant pressure, good submissions off your back. That's the typical Diego Lima shoot-a-box style. And I think stylistically, that's not good for Doo Ho Choi. I think that the guys that Doo Ho Choi has beaten as of late, like a Bill Algeo, who sucks and is old, by the way, I believe. How old is Bill Algeo, you think? I'm going to take a guess and say Bill Algeo is 96 years old. He's 36. All right, fair enough. And then after that, it's Nate Landwehr, who's also, I believe, like somewhere between the ages of 50 and 75. That's not impressive, dude. That's not impressive that you beat those guys, especially like the way he did. It's like, yeah, you pinned Nate Landwehr down in a crucifix and just elbowed him. Good luck trying to take down Daniel Santos. Good luck. Because if you do, he's going to be ripping a guillotine as he does on the way down. He's going to be throwing up triangles, arm bars. Also, he could threaten a Kimura. Like these shoot-a-box guys, they're psychopaths. Try and put him in a crucifix, he's gonna reverse you and wring your neck. Or if you want to stay on the feet, I think that there's levels to where Daniel Santos, first of all, his chin is very good, but he's shown that if you do try and sit on the back foot and you try and snipe him with shots like a Jusang Yu did, which I believe that's his name, he's gonna eventually land. And I think that's gonna be the story here, where Choi's gonna be kind of sitting on the back foot, trying to pick his shots at range through the pressure of Daniel Santos, and eventually he's gonna get clipped and put out. So I'm gonna take Santos by second or third round TKO here. Doo Ho Choi hasn't beaten anybody good from what I can remember at all, unless it was like a long time ago. I'm gonna take Daniel Santos by late TKO or submission here. Main event time, we have Arnold Allen taking on Costa. People who follow this channel know that I'm a big Melky believer. I used to say that he was average and that he would probably end up having a one-loss, one-win type of a career where it was just back and forth, back and forth. But he's turned it up a notch, and he's grown his weapons to where he's very snappy on the back foot. He's good on the front foot as well. He has good counter grappling. He has good offensive grappling. He can take you down. He can threaten submissions while he's getting taken down. He's complete. And I have to just based off the integrity of my channel, I have to take Melky. I have to do it. I'm a Melky believer. I think that Arnold Allen is a little bit overrated. He landed a couple good shots on John Silva, but for the most part, this was my interpretation of that fight. I think Arnold Allen kind of just got worked, especially as it went on. Like, because John Silva, he picks up on reads, and once he picks up on the reads as the fight goes, you tend to lose more and more and more throughout the combinations of the fight, and that was the case. From my perspective, that went the exact way that John Silva needed it to, because I think Arnold Allen, his chin is just too good. I don't see him getting finished here unless it's by submission, actually. Outside of the finish for John Silva, I think he worked Arnold Allen the way that he expected to. And Arnold Allen in that fight, he tended to actually fight in the pocket a lot more than I expected him to, which I think actually caught John Silva off guard, which is why he had good moments in the first round, and then eventually, you know, it slipped away from him. I just don't think that this is a good matchup for Arnold Allen, especially based off of that last fight where he was willing to sit in the pocket. If he's gonna do that again here, I think he's going to get worked. I think he's going to probably have good moments early. I don't think he's as powerful as we think. I mean, he couldn't flatten out a Dan Hooker, a drained Dan Hooker at 45. Like, he had to volume punch him to a win. And don't get me wrong, I don't want this to sound like some, like, hate train for Arnold Allen. I love Arnold Allen. I think he's super entertaining to watch. I think the fact that he's being active again is something that I really enjoy because I like watching him fight. But stylistically, if you're Arnold Allen and you're trying to fight on the inside, as you did in your last fight, or as you do period, where you're throwing these looping shots, I think you're going to be running into kicks. You're going to be running into even submission threats possibly from Melky. You do try and get the wrestling going. If Melky does try and get the wrestling going his way, I don't think that's going to work out very well. I think Arnold Allen, he does the same thing where he threatens submissions with his takedown defense. I've got Melky winning this over 5 rounds. I think he's just going to be the more complete mixed martial artist, which is something that he's shown in each and every single one of his last fights. He's on a big win streak now. How many wins in a row do you think he has now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in a row. Dan Ige has never been knocked out. Melky said the f with that. I'm going to put him away. And he spinning back kick. Morgan Charrier had never been knocked out before. Head kick, flatline, again. Or actually, that was before. So when he knocked out Morgan Charrier, never been knocked out before, flattened him out cold. Dan Ige, never been knocked out, flattened him out cold. So, I mean, like, based off of history, if history repeats itself, Arnold Allen might not actually be in a good spot here. He might get flattened. Yeah, I'm taking Melky. I think he's awesome. I love both of these guys. I'm excited for this, at least, this fight. But if I had to tell you what to watch, I would tell you to watch the Netflix card. Probably what I'm going to be watching both, but I mean, you know, the Netflix card's way better. So anyways, I appreciate you guys. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.